The University of Nairobi's Department of Environmental and Biosystems Engineering, in collaboration with the German Academic Exchange Program DAAD, held an engineering exposition on Tuesday, 23rd October 2018 at the University of Nairobi Towers. The theme of the exposition was Environmental, Agricultural and Biosystems Engineering as a key enabler to Kenya's Big Four agenda.
I want to take this chance to welcome you to the University of Nairobi for our visitors. And please feel at home, because I think also most of you are also our students at one time or another. It's a good time to look back and reflect how far we have come, and to just talk to each other.
The day began with keynote addresses and panel discussions from guest speakers themed under the title, "We Have the Solution."
Environmental Biosystems Engineering, or agricultural engineering, or the bigger body of agricultural engineering, has really evolved over time from where we were up to where we are now. And as we talk now, when I look at our country, I think we are just on the verge of economic takeoff. And our flight is on the runway. The plane that is called Kenya is just waiting for environmental biosystems to come on board most slowly so that it can take off.
The agricultural revolution, which is taking place in the world now, goes through doing things smartly. The engineer is required to design factories, supervise construction of the same, design production processes, operate machinery, and effect monitoring and evaluation in bioprocess manufacturing. We have a role here, what we call food and process engineering in this department. And that is manufacturing under Big Four agenda. And in the Big Four agenda under manufacturing, we see that we have a significant role because of the agro and bio-based industries.
I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Professor Ngao, the Principal, College of Architecture and Engineering, who is with us today to continue with the rest of the program. Welcome, Prof.
Yes, Professor Ngao did a major transformation in those years when he changed the Department of Agricultural Engineering to be the Department of Environmental Biosystems. I was the chairman at that time of the Department of Urban and Regional Planning. I didn't manage to change my department the way he changed it. And I can tell you it was not easy. He faced a lot of obstacles. So many people were resisting that change, but he managed to do it. So I think we are now at a stage when we can do the official opening, and I'm very glad to just invite a number of our main guests to address this important gathering. And I want to start with Dr. Hamad Rubak, the DAAD Regional Director, to say a word, and we move on. Thank you so much.
I'm very glad to be here today, and it's a pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the German Academic Exchange Service. We call it DAAD. It is a German acronym. You say DAAD here in Kenya. It's all the same. Coming to University of Nairobi is always like coming home, especially in this part of the university where we talk about engineering, agriculture, and environmental and biosystems. We all agree that universities in Kenya, other Eastern African countries, have a key role to play in order to achieve the visions. It has been mentioned, even just now, Vision 2030. Universities must absorb growing numbers of students. They must train suitably qualified graduates for the growing economy. They must conduct research towards major development challenges, multiply themselves by producing future lecturers for ever-growing numbers of institutions. And this is a huge challenge for the countries and the existing and newly established universities, among them, of course, the University of Nairobi. Germany, through the DAAD, supports universities in the region to meet these challenges. to be able to accommodate growing numbers of students and at the same time maintain or further increase the quality of higher education and research. Thank you.
Agriculture accounts for 31% of our GDP. So if agriculture doesn't do well, our economy doesn't do well. Manufacturing accounts for 8%. Agriculture, together with everything that goes around it, logistics, hospitality and everything, because it's around food and even the manufacturing around agricultural produce, transport, it takes agriculture's contribution to the GDP to 61%. So as a country, in Kenya, we are quite dependent on agriculture. As you try to develop yourselves, look for some of these innovative ideas for space, combining all these knowledge and technologies that you have so that you can empower yourselves. Thank you very much.
I'll take this moment, therefore, to welcome our panelists. And in this particular session, we are going to look at issues that affect the sector in terms of research, in terms of development, in terms of education, and also in terms of emerging issues that lead to innovation.
Over time, we have had conventional methods of collecting data to inform our knowledge on what is availability so that we can allocate what we know. Methodologies have been developed where the university researchers are very much involved to try to find a means of generating data that can assist us in ensuring that we have equitable water allocation. And this has been more or less through modeling processes. These universities have been involved in it, and there are also other emerging processes that uses cellular data systems that try to augment the conventional means of acquiring data.
I think if the government is to partner with learning institutions on this, when it comes to issues of research, there could be some authentic data that can be generated that the subsequent users can use. At the ministry level, they commissioned what we call the agricultural census. The aim was now to fill in some of these gaps through the support of other stakeholders, and that process is ongoing. We believe once it's concluded, we'll have a starting point.
About that. Now, coming back to the university, I want to point out that we have institutions in the center. We have the Institute for Climate Change and Adaptation, based in the Chiromo campus, headed by Professor Ondinga, among whose objectives is capacity building. We train masters and PhD students in climate change and adaptation, trying to make it multidisciplinary and also practical. And besides capacity building, they are also engaged in collaborative research in government and even other institutions. Recently we had a meeting there, we are calling the Arua meeting, which brings together all the institutions within the East, Central and Southern Africa to share ideas on how we can engage in research and are trying to identify common areas where you can share information about that. And we are working on that. I have a specific example, because of the time I may not take too long to talk about it. But the man now established some linkage with the University of Cape Town, where they have one-on-one with various students registered there, but doing research locally in the Tana River Basin. So they're trying to verify that indeed climate change has contributed to the extreme events of flooding and drought.
The issue within the irrigation sector is first related to the cost of irrigation. But more important is now how do we reduce the cost of irrigation development through optimal designs.
Having a degree, this is what I say, is like standing in a swimming pool. I would say this because we do swimming pools, and you're standing on a springboard and you want to jump at a deep end. And the engineering degree gives you a very strong springboard and a very nice spring that can jump you very far into the pool. And so it's good that you have the engineering, but you have to jump, and then you have to swim, and then you have to make it to the other end. Now there's much more that is needed to make you swim and go to the other end. And for me, what I did is that first of all, I had an attitude of learning. You know, when we come from the university, we feel very learned, and we are. I mean, most of you are the best in your schools, the best in your counties. You are very academically superior. I mean, I give you credit. But you know, when you come to the workplace, you do need to set that aside and have a learning attitude and say,
the first thing I'm doing is to have an open mind. Yeah, where I am ready to take up the challenges that are presented to me by my senior professionals. And one thing to do that is being ready to be mentored by them. Yeah, some people might perceive it as being used, but it's a way, you might not get as much returns as you would expect. But it's a good thing to be having an open mind and to allow yourself to be mentored. The other thing is going that extra mile, doing getting out of my comfort zone and doing what is more than that is expected of me. Because I cannot just rise by an accident, I have to go that extra mile. So have the right mentorship, have an open mind, and be ready to work with them and learn from them that they have because they have a lot of experience that they can share with you.
Space was provided to house exhibitions from the department, associated departments at the university, guest exhibits from other universities, and Ministry of Agriculture actors who are drawn from their alumni.
Here we have a sample of what we do in the Egerton. We have a feed mixer. A feed mixer is normally a machine that we use in mixing animal feeds.
Here we have a milking machine. This is a double milking machine which can milk 2 cows at once. We majorly use electricity, plug into the socket after the connection has been done to the teats of the cow, and the sucking of the milk can take place.
So I made this machine today. The machine's work is to mix propagation media. So you have to take the manure and the topsoil, sand and topsoil, so that you mix them together for potting, so that you can plant trees or flowers.
For this row system, it's normally recommended for borehole water because it has a membrane that it's able to remove dissolved salts from water. So the end product of this system is clean water, which is potable. Potable, I mean safe for drinking and domestic use for a house.
Good afternoon, everybody. To kick us off, we'll get panelists from agro-processing. So, Engineer Dr. Kloba, please take the floor. Thank you.
We do research and mainly in product development that can be ultimately be manufactured either in SMEs or medium or micro scale. So we are saying, well, we are introducing you to business startups at the early age. That's what common manufacturing facility is all about. That is the principle of common manufacturing facility. To give you the skills practically and to give you business skills also to start manufacturing. So by so doing, then we increase the manufacturing sector contribution to the economy in Kenya.
I want to talk about technologies that are developed in the universities and how they are disseminated. Basically, students and lecturers, professors are researchers, and a lot of research is usually developed, a lot of knowledge is usually developed each year. Efforts have been made to ensure that what is carried out, whatever is carried out in universities reaches the consumers. Efforts to disseminate technologies through workshops like this have been done, several workshops. We always have open days.
We normally take you for attachment. Turn them there out in the field to the industry. Then after you are through with your studies, that issue of internship, as we say, it's a on-job training. You are being trained so that over time, then you can become a specialist in that area. Then the issue of our profession and as university lecturers and professors, our mandate are normally at 4 levels. One, we are mandated to teach another lecture. We are mandated to conduct research. We are mandated to do consultancy and also do outreach or community service.
The essence of training ideally should be to answer a need of the country. And in this particular profession that we are, if you have the PSA, that 1% of our GDP comes from agriculture. We are supposed to be answering the need of this country.
In exploiting these new technologies, GIS being one of them, we need to see how to make optimal advantage of all this. Talking of GIS, and I did say that it is considered as a recent development, it has moved from the desktop, it then moved to the web or the internet, then it became mobile. Mobile systems were developed that could offer mobile, location in mobile form. Then it has moved to the cloud. Social media is now with us, and we need to take advantage of this. Yeah, we need to take advantage of this in the agricultural sector. We can come up with platforms whereby the farmer can do what? Can be able to relay whatever information they have to some repository, if you wish, or to some portal, and this portal is accessible or managed by somebody and accessible by the many who need it, and then you can process this information and generate knowledge that you can then use.
In my own progression in my career, I've done research, I've done a lot with the community, and finally, currently, we have been testing a concept to see whether a large-scale production can make sense in this country, especially in the context of small scale. Because many farmers own land. If one has land 50 acres or 100 acres, you're lucky. Most of it's 10 acres, 20 acres, and so on. And unfortunately, as the mechanization people would say, or has been observed even in other countries, you can't really solve the food security problem by doing things manually. We have to mechanize. And unfortunately, because of subdivision of land, I don't know how the policy will change to change this. But obviously, when people acquire the land, when their children are of age, they want to subdivide the land, it becomes smaller and smaller. I think we need a different model to deal with this. And I don't know through this, I think the people who are doing mechanization, you can tell us. Somebody was saying the machinery that was being used in this country during independence were more than what we are using currently. I don't know if that is true because of the dynamics. But that shows, and actually before we were food secure, I think now as people say, we are becoming more and more less food secure. So we need the university, we need everybody to think about this, to reverse this process so that we can be food secure.
I just take this wonderful opportunity to thank our guests, but especially our panelists who have just stepped down for a wonderful discussion that we have had. So I thank you all for gracing this occasion.